Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and thank you for being here today. I hope that everyone is having a wonderful weekend. It is a pretty good weekend here in Indiana. It is a rainy day, it's dark and kind of gloomy, but that's okay. I still have the windows open and the grass is getting much needed water and the leaves are starting to bud on the trees. You can just kind of tell that spring is in the air and I just love that feeling. It puts me in such a good mood, and so even though it is a little bit gloomy, I'm happy with that. So I hope everybody is enjoying their weekend, not working too hard. If you don't have to be, thank you for being here. Thank you for all of you who come back every week. I really do appreciate that. And as usual, if any of you are new and you are interested in tarot cards, tarot readings, true crime, unsolved cases, and the occasional candle making video, please consider subscribing. I really do appreciate that. I try to upload a video each week. I'm still in the process of trying to do 2 a week. I want to do that midweek. I do have a list that I am going by as far as requested videos. Actually, let me grab that list because I did make some additions from last week. I read this list for everybody, and the ones that I added last week were the Orrin and Orsin West from California City, which is going to be the video I do today. Molly Olgin and Christine Chapa. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these names right, so forgive me. The Walker County Jane Doe, Brianna Maitland, Sister Kathy Sesnick, and Morgan Ingram. So those are the cases that I have added to my list, and I'm trying to get through them, but I really do feel like I need to add like a midweek video just to kind of, get to them in a timely manner. The reason why I decided to do this one this week is because this was actually requested by 3 different people, and I usually don't care to read on children. I just have a thing about reading on kids. But when I looked into this, it's still unsolved and it's so fresh. You can't even find any information except basic news clips on YouTube. There's no articles. There's nothing. This is so fresh. It literally just happened this past December. I think it was December 21st of last year, 2020. So literally a few months ago. They have not been missing very long. I mean, they have been missing long enough, too long. But this is not a cold case by any means. And so I thought, well, let me go ahead and read on it. Now, I did pull some cards on it last week when I first read about it, and I was not happy with the cards that I pulled. It didn't give me a good feeling. And so I'm trying to go in with a clear mind and, no prejudged opinions or anything, which is hard. But I want to start with a clean slate and pull the cards and see what comes out today. So because this is such a new case, and probably I would assume many people have not heard of it, I am going to read a little bit about it and give you the history of these 2 little guys, and then we'll get right into the tarot reading. So we've got 3-year-old Orsin and 4-year-old Orrin West, who were reported missing in California City, California on December 21st, 2020. These little guys are unfortunately still missing to this day. So Orrin and Orsin were born in Bakersfield, California. Their mother, Ryan Dean, gave them the boys' birth names, Cincere with a C and Classic, and their last name was Pettus. I will be referring to the boys by their birth names for this reading because I believe it will be more accurate. So just a quick little insert. I don't know how I feel about, eventually you'll see in a few seconds here when I go on reading this, these boys were removed from their birth home and placed in foster care, and the foster family ended up adopting these 2 boys and they renamed them. And now, they're young, they're 3 and 4, but that is old enough to know your name and to recognize your name. And I don't know how I feel about the foster family renaming them at that age. I could understand if they were newborns. I could understand if they were even, 6 months old maybe. But anything beyond that, I feel like a baby recognizes their name. And that bothers me that they did change their name. So I just wanted to put that out there that I don't know how I feel about I don't like it. So I'll just put that out there. All right, so Child Protective Services had removed the boys from their birth mom because one of the boys had suffered from a broken femur bone, and mom had no idea how it had happened. So the last time mom, Ryan Dean, saw her boys was at the end of 2018. Now enter the foster parents into the picture. So we've got Trezell West and wife Jacqueline West, who became the boys' foster parents in 2018. They eventually adopted the boys in 2019 and renamed them Orrin and Orsin West. Mr. and Mrs. West also had 2 biological children and 2 other adopted children in the home at this time, so this made them jump up to having 6 kids in the home. But on December 21st, both Cincere and Classic would go missing. Since then, all of the children have been removed from the West family home. Now, I do believe that I read in the article or on the news clip that there were a list of things that this foster family or these adopted parents had to comply with, and if they complied with all of those, then they would regain custody of all of their children, minus Orrin and Orsin, or Cincere and Classic, I should say, because they're obviously missing. But as far as I know, the parents have not completed those tasks, and I don't know what those tasks are, but there is an opportunity for them to have their other remaining children returned to them. So I just wanted to add that in there as well. So on the day of the disappearance, Jacqueline was allegedly wrapping Christmas presents around 4 p.m., which I think is a little odd. As a parent myself, I've done the whole Christmas wrapping thing, and wrapping presents is usually done when the kids are in school or when they're in bed, okay, after they've gone to sleep. So I thought that was a little odd as well. Now, Cincere and Classic were only 3 and 4, so I assumed they had not started school yet, and I did find that strange that she would be wrapping in the middle of the day. However, in all fairness, she could have been in a bedroom with the door closed. So Jacqueline says that she told the boys to go outside into the fenced backyard and play with their chalk on the concrete, which they did allegedly. Trezell said he wanted to build a fire in the fireplace, and he went out the back door with the boys. He says that he opened a side gate and left the yard to gather some wood. He also claims he walked past the boys on his way back to the house. Trezell states, quote, "I came in the house, I saw them there, went into the house, came back out, and didn't see them there. I realized I had left the gate open and I panicked," end quote. Now, a neighbor's security camera does show Trezell at 4:32 jumping into the family's white van. Trezell states that he did jump into his van and drove around the neighborhood calling their names and talking to neighbors. He then called police more than an hour later. California City Police and several locals searched the area for the kids that night, but were unable to find them anywhere. Trezell and Jacqueline did not participate in that search because they stated that the police told them to stay in their home and that they had the best workers out there searching for their boys. Law enforcement does say that the foster parents have been cooperative, but police did receive a search warrant, or did get a search warrant, and have used canine dogs multiple times in the house. The chief of California City Police Department did say that the canine dogs did find the scent of the children in the home, but did not smell the children leaving the home. Which brings up another concern of mine. Wouldn't those dogs have picked up the scent of the boys around the back door and in the yard if the boys had used that door to go outside and play? So now law enforcement has been in that home several times and have occasionally brought out bags of evidence and have even dug up the backyard, but no new evidence has been found. Now, Trezell and Jacqueline West have not spoken to the public or given any public statements since December 23rd. They left their house in California City and haven't returned since Christmas. Several businesses and individuals have put up an award, as well as the adopted extended family, equaling $122,000. Also, money has been raised to put up 2 billboards in the area. Police say that they are responding to any and all tips, and for anyone with information on the 2 boys, they can call the California City Police Department at 760-373-8606. To remain anonymous, you can call the secret witness line at 661 888-322-4040. So a couple questions I have is, when were Cincere and Classic last seen by someone other than the adoptive parents? That would be a really good question to know the answer to. I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't find that information anywhere. I don't know if they were last seen, the week before at a grocery store by the cashier. I don't know if they go to a daycare or preschool or pre-K or anything like that. If they were last seen there, I don't know. So I really am curious to ask, not necessarily when, but also by whom. I'm also curious to know if the neighbor's security camera picked up the boys playing in the yard earlier, or does it not cover that location? And also, when was the last time that any of the boys or any of the children in that home were picked up on that neighbor's security camera? And even if it's getting into the van, when's the last time any activity of picking up any of those children, especially Classic and Cincere, going into that van? And then, of course, why did it take Trezor more than an hour before he called the police? And then I want to ask several yes or no questions in regards to the claimed activities that day, such as the building of the fire in the fireplace and the wrapping of the Christmas present. So we'll see how this reading goes. Again, I'm trying to keep my mind clear and start out with a fresh slate. I feel like my opinion on these adopted parents are not in the best light right now, so I'm trying to put that aside and just see what comes up. I'm human, I that's just how it is. And so anybody who says I read cards and I'm definitely unbiased, you can try to be unbiased. You can really, really try hard. Sometimes it's hard to be completely unbiased because we are human and your mind starts wandering and thinking things, and it's really, really hard to control that. So I'm trying to go into this unbiasedly and just see what the cards come up with. So for today's reading, I have the Los Scarabeo Tarot and the After Tarot. These two are really bumping up there to be my two favorite tarot decks of all. So, and I find this one here, the universal one, I find that one to be really accurate in reading. So I'm going to start out with that one. And right away, I just want to ask, I want to just go in. Do these adoptive parents have anything to do with these two boys missing? Do the adoptive parents, I think it's Trezor and Jacqueline, do they have anything to do with Cincere and Classic Pettus going missing? Do these adoptive parents have anything to do with Cincere and Classic Pettus going missing? Do the adoptive parents have anything to do with these boys missing? Do the adoptive parents have anything to do with these boys missing? Do the adoptive parents have anything to do with these boys missing? Okay, so I'm trying to be a little bit more open to reading reversals. I don't typically read reversals, but I am... if they come up, they come up, okay, and I'm going to do my best. So typically this is and I am going to flip it over so that we can look at it. So typically this is the Temperance. This is balance, okay? This is just, finding that peace between spiritual and physical, all right? Just having everything kind of put together. And more importantly for me, this card is, and I hate saying this, but this card, and you can even go back to my other videos where I have pulled this card, it is my concoction card. And it's my concoction card because it shows a woman above a cauldron, and she's pouring what looks to be water and wine together in her cauldron, and there's something cooking because you can see that there's some smoke coming out, and so it reminds me of somebody cooking something, okay? That's what it reminds me of. And it's a concoction. I feel like she's making something. She's making a drink of some sort. She's making something. She's concocting something in her cauldron. So this particular card, because I read for cases like this, I usually consider it a mixture of some sort. And again, you can go back, you can see me reading this card in previous cases. I say the exact same thing. This is my concoction card. So the fact that it is flipped upside down, it's reversed, it makes me feel like that is not a good sign. That means that, because usually this is a balance card, okay? So that means that she's trying to make something that is something in the positive light. The fact that it's reversed means that there was some concoction used for purposes that were not good, okay? I'll say that. That is how I look at this card. Again, that is how I connect with this particular card. It is a concoction card. So that is not a good way to start this reading. It makes me feel like these boys were possibly given something. And that's my next question. Were Classic and Cincere given something? Was there something that these boys were given to drink or eat? All right. Let me just stop there for a second and work with this card. Interesting that this one came up, because there's a big rock. And I did read in the article, and I am going to share that article in the description box. There's not a whole lot of information out there, but there are 2 articles that I found. And so both of those articles, and I think that there's a news clip I'm going to share in the description box, and you can read for yourself. But one of the articles shared that the family, the adoptive parents, Jacqueline and Trezzo, actually left the house in California City, and I think that they moved back to Bakersfield, so I'm assuming that that's another nearby town. And I believe that that's where the boys originally were from. That's where their biological mom and their family live. But they left the home in California City because they were receiving such public hostility, being accused of knowing something about the boys, accused of doing something to the boys. And one of the incidents that had happened is someone threw a rock in their window, or through one of the windows in the house, and it had to be boarded up. And so that's the first thing that I thought of when I seen this card, is that rock. I feel like that rock. There's something of importance with that rock. We've got a door, we've got a gate. Now also, I'm looking at this gate, and I'm thinking back to the story that Trezzo tells the media and the police, that he had opened the side gate of the fence to gather firewood, and he comes back goes out and gets the firewood, takes it into the house, comes back out, realizes he left it open, and the boys are gone. So to me, this door here is closed. It's not an open door, it's a closed door. And so that is interesting. We've got the rock and we've got the gate, and that gate is closed. And then we've got the rainbow. And I think for those of you who know me probably know where I'm going with this, but I'm not particularly fond of this card coming up. Neither one of them, to be honest with you. Okay, let's keep going. All right. Okay, I want to ask, where are the boys? Where is Cincere and where is Classic Pettus? Where are they? Where are these boys? Where can they be found? Where can they be found? Where are these boys? All right, so that's not good. We've got the 9 of Wands. Again, this physical card is not a good one, because this looks like a guy who's really been through it. Okay, this is a guy who's been through some shit before. He's all bandaged up. He's got, material wrapped around. All of his wands are different. They're a different tool. This looks like it's even a cane. So this is like this can also be very defensive. This to me really kind of makes me feel like it could possibly be a desperation. Like he's desperate. He doesn't have the means and the material that he really truly needs. He's making it work, but it's not ideal. And so he's not in the most ideal situation. But as far as where they're at, that's just how I see this card. So as far as connecting it to the question that I asked, I'm going to look at the geography of the card. And right now, I don't see much of anything. I don't see houses. I don't see a town. I don't see buildings. I don't see anything. I see a field. I see a plain, an area of really nothing. We've got grass, we've got some wood, we've got some path. Actually, I don't know if that's a river back there. It looks like it could be a river or some sort of water form back here. It looks like a river if you look. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is what I'm really taking from this card. We do have, it does look like he is on kind of like a wood path or a dirt path here. And it kind of looks like we're out in the middle of nowhere. So that is kind of the answer that I'm taking. Yeah. We've got a lot of rags. I feel like there's some importance to that too. We've got... He is literally, it looks like, I don't know what he's using, but it looks like he could have possibly used a piece of cloth or, something like that, and maybe ripped it up into pieces. He's got some wrapped around his head. He's got wrapped around his arm. He's got it, wrapped around these things here. I'm just gonna go ahead and ask, even though I don't really feel comfortable asking, but is Classic and Cincere, are they alive? Is Classic and Cincere alive? Is Classic and Cincere alive? Well, as far as a yes or no, okay. In my opinion, and it's my opinion only, and cards are interpreted differently by many people, and all people read cards differently, obviously. This is a no, this is a card that I feel has a negative connotation to it, and so therefore would be leaning towards a no. This is a card of frugality, okay? Possessions, obsessions, attachments. Sometimes being cheap. Sometimes it can mean saving. But usually when I pull the Four of Pentacles, those are the things that come into my mind, and they aren't always positive, okay? What do you think of somebody who is cheap? You're not thinking something good of them. You're thinking, oh, God, look at that cheapskate, whatever. And so it does have that kind of negative vibe to it. So I have to say I would be leaning towards the no on that one, unfortunately, which is exactly why I don't care to... This is why I feel uncomfortable reading on children, but I felt like it was important to do this case. So in my opinion, I would probably say I'm leaning towards, unfortunately, these little guys not being here on this earth. And I don't know that for a fact. I don't know that for a fact, okay? So let's just see how the reading continues to go. But this does make me feel like there is something about a space being too small. Are they in something that is not big enough for them? Because this is also a big guy. He looks like a giant, and he looks like he's inside of this small castle. And it looks like he can barely fit. It looks like it's a tight squeeze. It doesn't look right. He doesn't look like he should be in there. Sometimes that can represent that, possibly a person is maybe spending too much. They're spending what they don't have, or they're living beyond their means or something like that. It can relate to finances, but If I just physically look at this card, this is a man who has stuffed himself inside of this tiny space, and it doesn't look right. So again, let's look at the surroundings and the geography of the card. We've got a castle that looks like it's out in the middle of nowhere. It looks like it's surrounded by grass. We've got grass here. We've got some red stuff. I don't know if that's fire, but we've got fire here as well. And then we've got some water. It looks to be water. Okay, and we've got like a river over here. So I'm just putting that out there. Who was the last person to see these boys? Who was the last person to see these boys? I'm not going to ask when, because I've never been one to pick up a timeline on the cards. It's very hard for me to do that, and so I don't want to necessarily ask when. I want to know who was the last person to see these children. And we've got the King of Wands. So I do believe that that is someone else. The last person. Well, it's hard to know really if we don't have a timeline, because they could have been seen 2 weeks ago at the grocery store. They could have been seen last Sunday at church. I don't know if they go to church. I'm just throwing it out there. They could have been seen at a preschool. I have no idea. But this does tell me that, the last person that seen them possibly was a male. And I would be interested to know if they have tried to find the last person that seen these boys, other than the adopted parents, or the adoptive parents, rather. So the King of Wands is someone who is an authoritative figure, or older, at least older. Definitely somebody that is, if you're just looking at the basic definition, somebody that's a visionary, someone that can plan, someone that's helpful. He's got a lot of good ideas. He's utilized a bunch of ideas. He's a helpful person. So there is someone in their life or connected to them that would meet these expectations or these criteria. And it's possible that whoever this is, that is the last person that's seen these two boys alive. Now, who is that person? I don't know. It is not Trezl. It is not one of the parents. It's someone else outside of that setup or that nuclear unit. So I'm curious if the police have looked into this question of who was the last person to see these parents besides the parent, or these boys besides the adoptive parents, because I think that that's an important question. I want to ask, is the story true that Trezl and Jacqueline are giving the police? Is it true that these boys were outside playing in the yard? I just want to ask a yes or no. Is it true that Cincere and Classic were outside playing in the yard while Jacqueline was wrapping presents and Trezl was building a fire in the fireplace? Is it true? Is this story true? Yes or no? Judgment. Okay, so I don't think so. I don't think that that's true. I don't think that that story is true. There's something else going on here. These are not great cards to be pulling for this case, and it's not really representing the adoptive parents in the best light right now. So what I want to do is I want to pull these aside, and I want to pull a couple of cards, and I want to see if we can get the story of what happened. What happened to Classic and Cincere Pettus? What happened to Classic and Cincere Pettus? What happened to Classic and Cincere Pettus? Now we do have that. Remember, don't forget, we have that concoction card. Oh, man. Yeah, this is... Okay, so... yeah, okay. Well, first of all, let's address the lovers. So whenever I pull a lovers in a case like this, right away that's mom and dad. Okay, and so I do believe that this is Jacqueline and Trezel West. Okay, so technically mom and dad, right? And I there is something going on with them, and they're not being fully honest with the public or the police because of the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is deception. This is trying to be clever, trying to get away with something, trying to sneak and get away with something, okay? And look at the clouds in that sky, okay? That is trickery. That is nothing good. Nothing good is going to come of that. So that does tell me that they are being deceptive. They're not being fully honest. They're hiding something, okay? They're trying to get away with something. And then we've got the King of Swords, which could potentially be Trezel. I don't necessarily look at him as a king per se as far as age is concerned, but it could be. It could definitely be Trezel, and more than likely I do think it is. It's above the lovers, so definitely someone related to Trezel. It could be Trezel. It could be Trezel's father. I don't know anything about these people, whether he has parents that are alive or anywhere near them, but if it's not a father or a father figure to Trezel, it is Trezel himself. And the King of Swords, obviously in this deck here, has just, decapitated someone and is holding the head. This is not someone that you want to play with, right? This is somebody that will, not take shit from anyone and is not putting up with anything, and a pretty fierce person. So that's not good. And then we've got the Chariot. So the Chariot to me plays a huge factor because that is, the Chariot and the Lovers, because they're both major arcana cards, so they both are a huge role. That means the parents do have a major role in the disappearance of these boys. This is a major arcana card. So these parents are coming out loud and hard and strong. There's something going on with these parents, and that is without a doubt. And there's something going on with their car. So I know that I read in the introduction that the canine dogs were called to the house. I'm wondering if the canine dogs were allowed to sniff or inspect the white van that the West family owns. Okay, so the white van that apparently Trezel went into when he was searching for Cincere and Classic that day that they went missing. So there's something coming up with a car. It doesn't have to be that one, but there is a car of some sort that's coming up, okay, or coming out rather. So we've got concoction, okay, we've got judgment, we've got deception, lying, we've got a car, we've got mom and dad that are coming out. What else do we have? All these, it's all right. So let's keep going. And then we have leaving. Now, in this particular card, the Six of Swords is definitely usually a card where you are kind of, leaving rough waters for calmer waters, right? You're trying to look towards the future. You're trying, to get out of whatever situation it is that you're trying to get out of. So is there a situation that these parents felt that they were in and they tried to escape it? Was this a means of escape of some sort? Were these boys, was there something going on financially? We have had a few pentacles come up. Was there a financial means or a motive behind this? Could they not afford these two boys anymore? Did they not want anything, to do with them? Were they challenged? I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to consider what these people might be considering in their mind. But this is definitely an escape card. Now, also, I'm looking at this card and I'm seeing a lot of water. So we've got water yet again. And this time we have a boat, so we've got some mountains. Now we had some mountains where was that other card? In the Nine of Wands, we had some few mountains and a river. Okay, so and then we've got a few mountains and possibly a river or a body of water. So I want to put that out there again as well. And then we have the Ten of Wands. So now mind you, we pulled the Nine of Wands earlier. So now we have the Ten of Wands. So usually this is these two cards are basically the end of a cycle. You're accomplishing something there. Whatever it was that you've had going on in your life, you're really on the verge of completion and moving on and just kind of completing that cycle. It's been rough. It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been an easy journey. Stay on the path. Stay focused. Keep going. You're almost there. You're almost at the finish line. That's what these two cards usually represent. We have a path. Okay, that's what I'm seeing. We have a path. We have a walking path. And it still looks like even though the homes are close, they're not that close. And so I want to look at it in a means to where I'm trying to connect it to this case or any case that I read on. So not always necessarily the normal, typical definition, but let's keep the geography in play here. So not good. There's something going on with this adoptive parents rather. Actually, I think I'm going to, where am I at? 36 minutes. I think I want to use the After Tarot. I'm going to switch out. And see what happened to these boys. What happened to these boys? What happened to Classic and Cincere Pettus? 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 What happened to Classic and Cincere? What happened to Classic and Cincere Pettus? We got the Ten of Wands. The Eight of Wands, second time we pulled that. We've got money. We've got the Lovers again. We've got two boys. Wow, what would be the odds of the sun coming out in this particular deck having two boys? What happened to these two boys? What happened? Okay, what happened to these two boys? We've got the Magician. What happened? What happened? And then we've got Judgment. So we've got the Judgment twice. All right, so first of all, we've got, I honestly, I'm looking at the adoptive parents, and I'm not seeing anything that is making me comfortable in saying that they did not have anything to do with this. They are coming up in this reading a lot, and they are not accompanied by very good cards. So that's a concern. This is mom and dad, and this is the adoptive mom and dad. So there's something going on with them. They're not being truthful. They're not being honest. And I think it's wearing on them. I really do. I think by the base of this, or off of this Ten of Wands, it's wearing on them. They are having a hard time holding up to the scrutiny of what's going on. And this is the two boys. There is no way that this is not the two boys. This is definitely Classic and Cincere Pettus. Anybody who knows anything about tarot, the Sun card usually has one boy. And it just so happens that I'm reading on two boys today, and two boys happen to, usually you guys know who watch every week. Most of the time I bring out two, sometimes even more decks, and I never get to it. I'll always say, oh, I didn't have time, or I'll end up spending the whole hour on one deck. For whatever reason, I pulled out that second deck today, and I looked at the time and I said, I got to pull that second deck out, and I pulled this card. So things happen for a reason. You do things for a reason. They're meant to happen. It's just the universe's way of making it known to you. And so I do feel like this is a good sign that these boys are wherever they are. And I can't tell you where they are. I don't know. But wherever they are together. And they are happy. They are, this is a good card. We've got the sun. We've got warmth, happiness, glowing, sunflowers, life, okay, obstacles, the wall. That wall represents obstacles, and that wall is behind them, okay? They're just kids being kids. And, I don't want to say what I'm thinking, but we do have the judgment card here. And we also have children being entered up into heaven. So that's all I'm going to say about it. That's all I want to say about it. But we also have two people here that are not, right? We have some karma for these two people down here. So who are these people down here? Could they be the parents? Could they be the adoptive parents? Do they have some karma coming to them for some reason? Is there something that they've done, perhaps, that deserves some karma? Or perhaps they should be concerned about karma? Maybe when their time comes. So there's that. And we also have the 8 of Wands again, which is usually, it can usually mean, most people look at the 8 of Wands as a communications card, fast communications card, where you're referring to possibly emails, text messaging, something like that. One thing I notice about these 8 of Wands cards often is that, yes, they're all going in the same direction, but they're all coming in at a different location. So they're kind of lined up, but they're not really lined up. They're not lined up perfect. And that kind of makes me feel like we're referring to the timeline, the story. Yes, the parent story is kind of lining up, but it's not lining up everywhere and on every detail. And that might actually be something that, ends up showing their true colors in the end. Their stories aren't quite lining up. They're close, but they're not quite there. And then again, let's look at the geography. We've got hills. We've got, not a lot of houses. There is a house here. There is a house here. But we've also got the hills, we've got the grass, and we've got another body of water. So, let me just continue on, and then I'll say what I was going to say. We've got something with money. We've got the 9 of Pentacles, which is an abundance card. Usually this is someone who has worked hard for what they've achieved, what they've earned, what they've created. This is somebody just kind of... coming to a point in their life where they deserve to take some time out for them to enjoy, the fruits of their labor, so to speak. And so this is what this card represents. And just the fact that we're dealing with this kind of a case, I like to take the clues in the card and really, really... Yes, you can take the definition, the actual book definition, and you can incorporate that into the reading as well. But I really, really am looking at the clues in the card, the physical clues. And one thing that is sticking out to me right here with this particular card, I can't take my mind or my eyes off of it, is that glove. It is that glove. It is so out of place there. It's so weird. You've got this woman who is out gathering grapes, and she's smiling, and she has this happy facial expression, and she's got all this harvest around her, and you can tell that she's wealthy. And then you just have this glove laying on the ground next to her, and it just seems, like I said, it's so out of place. And it's right next to the 8 of Wands, which I just said, I feel like it's the story of the parents, the adoptive parents. It's the story that they're telling, but their stories aren't, they're lining up, I'd say about maybe 85, whoops, sorry. They're lining up about 85%. They're not lined up 100%, right? So there's some discrepancies in the story of the parents. And I do believe that there's this glove here. That tells me that there possibly is some physical evidence that can connect these adoptive parents to these boys going missing. And it is beginning to wear on them. Okay? It's beginning to wear them down. Their little world is collapsing. This is a finality card. This is the end. This is the end. Okay, so that kind of does make me feel like that's a good sign. Maybe they're going to come clean. Maybe if there's something that they did, I don't know. I'm not saying it 100%, but if there is something that they did, perhaps it's going to be soon where they come out and admit to it. But this is definitely mom and dad. And so this ace, to be honest with you, now that I look at this ace, because I wasn't really paying much attention to it until now, it kind of does go with this, because I feel like this is things that are happening. This is something new. This is new evidence. I feel like there's possibly new evidence going to be found in this case. I really do. I really do. I really do feel like, I mean, look at this. We've got mom and dad, right? We've got judgment, karma, the boys. Boys are together. They're happy no matter what, okay? But we've got exhaustion, completion, fatigue, being on the same page but not quite on the same page. And then we've got a strange glove that just appeared out of nowhere, and we've got something new. We've got something new, and we've got another path and some mountains. But this is new. This is like a lucky beetle. So this is something new, and it's going to be something good. And it's possible that there's going to be some new evidence found in this case. So that gives me some hope. With that magician, I'm not quite sure who the magician is referring to. I'm not sure if it's the parents or if it's the police, because I feel like it could be either one in this case. I feel like it's kind of the police, and I do feel like they're determined to find out what happened to these boys, and I think that they are. I really do. I think that they are. I want to ask for the final question here. Are we going to find out? Are we going to find out what happened to these boys? Let me pick these up out of the way. Are we going to find out? Are the police going to find out what happened to Classic and Cincere Pettus? Are the police going to find out what happened to these two little guys? Are the police going to find out what happened to these two little guys? Yes or no? 6. I do believe they are. I really do. That's actually, it's an ego card. It's my ego card. But this is definitely a yes kind of, well, it depends on what I'm looking at, but generally this is a yes kind of, yes vibe card. And so I do feel like this is definitely the representing the law enforcement and them being successful and solving this crime. I really do. Remember, this has only been a few months now. It's very, very fresh. I don't even think anybody has really talked about it. I tried to search on YouTube to see if there were any videos on it. There is none. And so I do feel like there is a lot of hope that they're going to find out what happened to these two little boys, these two little brothers. I do think that this is representing the law enforcement. So what's going to happen to... Actually, I want to pull some cards on Trezel and Jacqueline. I'm curious to know what's going on with them emotionally right now. What's going on with Trezel and Jacqueline West? What's going on with them emotionally and mentally at this point? They're not doing very well at all. At all. They are not doing good. He's faking himself out. Okay, he's pretending to be good. She could possibly be drinking. Okay, so this is crazy that... okay. Wow. Okay, so again, my question was, how are Trezel and Jacqueline dealing with the situation? Let me move this one out of the way. Let's just look at these three here. Okay, so not very good cards to pull for that question. this tells me right off the bat they're not doing good financially. They're not doing very good even health-wise, because Pentacles can, anything earth, it can represent health as well. It doesn't have to just be always money or financial. So this does tell me that they are down on their luck right now. They are not doing very well. They could be having illnesses. They could be just overall suffering financially, physically, emotionally, mentally, all the above. Okay, so this is not, they're not doing very well at all. There's something going on with the dad. I feel like the dad has come out. Well, actually, I think this is mom too, but I was going to say I feel like the dad has come out a little bit more than the mom. But especially, I guess, because I pulled that King of Swords in the last deck. I think that's why I'm saying that. But now we've got the King of Cups. And we've got the Three of Cups. So are these parents both drinking? Are they trying to escape their problems by drinking them away? Because I don't usually consider the King of Cups as a drinker, but he can definitely be a drinker. Okay, that is the negative side of the King of Cups. It can be somebody who is drinking too much. This can be somebody that this is also my poker face card. This can be somebody who is really presenting a fake self for the public, but is a completely different person behind the scenes. So the person that is out there speaking to the news media and claiming that he was just gathering wood for the fireplace and was going to build a fire, you know, he doesn't really strike you as anybody who has anger problems or drinking problems, but this again tells me that there is a different side of him that we don't see. So he is definitely the type that's going to put out an image of who or what he wants the public to see him as, and what his true self is behind closed doors. Now, this one here, the Three of Cups, to me, is kind of representing definitely the mom. And again, we've got cups, we've got celebration, we've got having a good time with the girls. Is this a person who is enjoying not having the children around? Is she kind of enjoying this party time? Is this a party time for her? Is she drinking a little bit too much? Is she kind of, there's something for this to be happening, for two adoptive children, your children that you adopted that are yours now, for them to be going missing, there should be no means of celebration coming up. And so that just in and of itself is a concern. So why is there a celebration card coming up? Unless it's just drinking, okay? So these are not good cards. These parents are not in a very good situation, but I do want to ask yes or no, is there going to be some answers to this case soon? Is this case going to be solved? And based off of that other row of cards that we had with the Ace of Pentacles, what was it? The Ace of Pentacles, the Judgment, the Eight of Wands, or the Eight of Wands, and the Six of Wands, and the Ten of Wands. I do feel like that's very indicative that there is going to be some closure to this. But I want to ask again, yes or no, and that'll be my final one, because I'm at 53. Oh, pretty good, 53 minutes today. Is there going to be some answers to this case? Are we going to ever find out what happened to Cincere and Classic Pettus? Are we ever going to find out what happened to them? I would consider that definitely a yes, the Queen of Wands. Definitely. And very interesting that the Queen of Wands came out, because the Queen of Wands is known for her sunflower. And we've got the sun, which also has sunflowers in it with the boys. And so I do feel like wherever the boys are, they are protected by this person, whoever that is. There is some connection between this Queen of Wands and these boys here. So I do feel like that is a good sign that yes, there is going to be some conclusion to this case. I don't know if it's necessarily what we're all hoping for, but on a spiritual level, I do feel like these boys are together and they are happy and they are playing. They are being protected by someone. And we are, I think, going to know eventually what happened to these boys. So I think that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope that, you know, this helped a little bit. It's sad to read on children. It's very sad, and just it bothers me, especially when you're talking about, you know, when something potentially horrible has happened. But I do think it's important to look at the geography of the cards. We did look at some of the, you know, the elements. We've got a body of water, we've got a river, we've got mountains, we've got, you know, so those are the things that I really wanted to kind of focus on, because it might shed some light on where these two little boys are. I do think that wherever they are together. And I do think that, you know, don't forget we pulled that concoction card, we pulled that temperance, and that is my concoction card. And so what I mean by concoction is that I mean cocktail. That's what I mean, and I don't mean cocktail in a good means of cocktail. So I am putting that out there, that I do feel like it's possible that these boys were given something. I don't know that for a fact. It's just my own thoughts and opinions that I am coming up with, but it makes me wonder if perhaps a cocktail of some sort was not made intentionally for these boys. You know, and for whatever reason, I don't know what the reasoning would be behind it, but something's not right with these parents, these adoptive parents, guys. Something's not right with them. There's something off about both of them, and they came up in the reading in both decks as the Lovers card. That is them to the T. So I think I'm going to end it there. I know I said that already. I'm just repeating myself at this point, but anyway, until next week, guys, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. I'm going to try. I don't know if I'm going to I don't want to say I'm going to have a midweek this week, because I was called for jury duty, and so I don't know what that's going to entail this week, so I don't want to make any promises. I know I didn't do a midweek video last week. It kind of got busy with candle making and whatnot, and then possible jury duty this week, but if not, I will see you guys next weekend. Be safe, be kind, and have a wonderful evening, guys.